guys, it's me! Today is my very first Lieder school lecture featuring the composer Hugo Wolf. I'm gonna be honest, I've avoided playing Wolf Lieder as much as possible. Crazy, I know. Each time I've dipped my toes in, I think, I'm not sure what I'm doing, and then I promptly run away. But I will stand for this behavior no longer. So let's talk about it. First though, a bit about Hugo Philipp Jakob Wolf. Born March 13th, 1860, Wolf was never really interested in anything other than music. His father did not want him to become a career musician, but it quickly became clear that he would do nothing else. Wolf was dismissed from the first secondary school he attended for being wholly inadequate. Then he left the second because he failed Latin, and after a professor called him out for being obsessed with damned music, he quit his third. Subject to wild mood swings and a rather quick-tempered nature, Wolf did not fare well in institutional settings in general. Relatable! When he eventually attended the Vienna Conservatory, he was outspoken in his criticism of teachers and was consequently and unsurprisingly expelled once more. I feel like my glasses are wildly, ridiculously dirty. That did not help at all. Cool. After this event, thinking that Wolf needed some cheering up, a kind-hearted though misguided friend took him to a brothel for the first time when he was not quite 18 years old. Two things of note happened after this. The first was that the composer experienced a creative explosion of songwriting, furthering my postulation that song and sex are usually inextricably intertwined. And the second and more unfortunate thing of note was Wolf's contraction of syphilis. I'm not sure why I'm smiling. I like smile there. It's a serious moment. Don't smile. We don't smile when we talk about syphilis. This disease proved to be tragic not only for how it affected his creative output, he experienced manic bursts of creativity and productivity, but also for ending his life at the young and tender age of 42, which is getting younger every year. Wolf's earliest songs were settings of poems by Goethe, Lenau, Heine, and Eichendorff. From 1883 to 1887, he focused most of his efforts on the only true job that he ever held, writing as a music critic for the weekly publication the Vienna Salonblatt. Is that how we're saying that? I'm gonna go with it. Given that he loved to express his fiery opinions and judge the works of others, he was well suited for the critic job, except for the fact that his writing was usually overtly caustic and incendiary. Wolf was often merciless in his reviews of Brahms, spewing about how conservative the highly regarded composer was. This resulted in many enemies who were able to sabotage performances of Wolf's own compositions and often kept them from happening at all. Eventually tiring of the critic life, he quit this job to focus on composing, which of course meant that he needed to rely on the kindness of friends and the generosity of patrons he had charmed. 1888 through 1891 saw another creative explosion, and he wrote 174 songs, including his famous Mörike settings, 51 Goethe-Lieder, and the 44 Spanish songs from his Spanish Liederbuch. The next round of creative energy in 1896 proved to be his last. After this point, he suffered intense bouts of syphilitic insanity, though occasionally emerged from the darkness for brief periods of clarity and health. These would not last long though, and after a failed suicide attempt, he was ultimately placed in an asylum where he died of his disease shortly before his 43rd birthday. So, let's talk about Wolf's compositional style. Wolf's music is often exceedingly, for the time, and for this little Lieder nerd, chromatic. It can seem as though it's wandering through various tonal ambiguities, always searching for that final resolution. Indeed, this is often the point. He skillfully employs procedures for delaying the arrival at final tonal destination, usually to prolong emotional/psychological tension in a way that specifically suits the text. The texts he chose to set often grapple with feelings of anguish and desire for resolution or meaning. The text of the song Gebet by Edvard Mörike is one such example. The English translation of the text goes thusly. Lord, send what you will, a love or a sorrow. I am content that both should spring from your hands. May you with joy and may you with sorrow not overwhelm me, but in the middle lies sweet moderation. Here we can see, whoa, almost fell off my bench. Here we can see the poet grappling with what comes from the hand of providence, a desperate desire to make sense of what's to come, whether it be joy or sorrow, love or pain. Somehow it must make sense. Wolf paints this with a chromaticism that wanders here and there. The song begins in E major, but as you can guess, it doesn't stay there for long. At the point in which the text asks to not be overwhelmed with either joy or sorrow, the chromatic wanderings push at the boundaries of tonality, and resolution seems a distant, perhaps unattainable concept. As you'll hear, the moment of resolve is in fact prolonged until well after the vocalist stops singing, a sublime episode in which the piano postlude offers the sweetest and perhaps most longed for of resolutions. Go ahead and check out my recording of this song and let me know what you think. As always, you can find me on Instagram at LeaderNerd or on YouTube as Mandee Madrid-Sikich. And you can listen to my podcast, Follow the Leader, wherever you pod. See you later, nerds! Each time